So I am about to start putting down my paints on my palette. This is going to be a nice early sunset picture. So I want a lot of pink and light blue with some purple. I'm using some navy blue to add some depth. And then a little bit of green for some bushes that I will be adding later. Some black for mixing and depth, just a little bit. And you'll also see that I forgot to add yellow. So add a little tiny bit of yellow, similar to the amount of black and red. I'm also putting down some white for mixing. Grab as much as you need, but please try not to overestimate. You can always go back for more. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go into the light blue with my largest brush and start getting it on the canvas just a little bit below the top. You're really just laying it down here, don't worry too much, but I like to make smooth back and forth motions. I'm then dipping into the dark blue and putting that at the very tip top of the painting. Right off the bat, I realized that it was not the color combo I was going for, but it is going to work out. Going in for a little bit more dark blue and starting to work it down. I also have a little bit of the light blue on my brush. Don't worry too much about the harsh line. You are going to slowly blend it and you'll see how that starts to work. Going back into the light blue right on that center line, I'm getting started on the blending. Take your time with this, have a little bit of fun. The more time you take, the better your blend will be. You also won't see me spending much time on the sides of the painting, but feel free to paint the sides as you like. Now I am going in with the purple. Laying down another level of the horizon, and I decided I wanted it to be lighter, so I got a tiny bit of white on my brush, and that makes it such a beautiful light purple color. I'm going to lay down a stripe of that, and then lower down I'm going to go back into the deep purple and add a little bit of depth. Going back into the white, I'm going to go on that center stripe and start to blend. Again, take your time blending and just really enjoy the feeling of moving the brush and the paint under the bristles. I'm using light sweeping motions here. I'm dipping into the light blue to start to combine my purple and blue. There's a little bit of purple on the brush still as well, which makes it work really beautifully. I'm loving how these colors look. Just keep going back and forth to blend and add more complexity. I'm gonna start adding some pink in. There was this area in the middle of the purple that I thought the pink would look lovely, but I realized I still had blue on my brush. Anytime you want a fresh brush, go into your water and wipe it off on the black towel. There are no mistakes in painting, only opportunities. So go back to the pink, add a little bit of white, and you can see I'm starting to just kind of have fun with it. If you're a big watcher of sunsets, you know that they all look different anyways, so it's hard to go wrong here. Getting started on my pink stripe. This is when I realized I wanted a little bit of yellow. But I'm not using it right this second. This is just pink and some white to make it more pastel. I'm getting a nice moderate amount of paint on my brush so that my bristles can move freely, but not picking up so much paint that I'm getting drippies. I'm taking the pink back up into the purple to blend. I decided I want it to be a little bit more pink heavy on the left side of the purple, so I'm blending the pink up into the left of the purple, and then that white spot that you see there is where I'm going to be adding some greenery. I also decided to get a little bit of pink up there in the blue to kind of bring it together, make it make more sense. And I'm so happy that I did this. I think it really ties the colors together. I'm just using soft sweeping motions, not getting the brush wet too often. When you're working on top of the wet layers, your brush being a little bit drier can give you more of that sweepy, windswept look. Going into the green, I'm going to start on some forestry here at the bottom. I'm just kind of building this shape up. Take your time. The end result is going to look nothing like this. I also quickly realized that I wanted this to be a darker color, so just getting the tiniest bit of black, I'm going to start a little mixture of black and green in the corner of my palette. So this is slowly going to start to come together. Just keep adding layers and layers, kind of playing with the shapes that your brush can make. You can see I'm kind of making some U shapes, and then I'm going to start tapping in a little bit. And you can keep mixing green and black to get your desired color. I want the forestry and greenery to be pretty dark up here because it's not really the point of the picture, if you know what I mean. So keep blending, keep moving the colors around. I'm getting into the tapping here. This is going to give it more of that Renaissance kind of effect. I realized I had some pink on my brush, so I'm just going to brush it off and then go back into my dark green. This is because the pink underneath this area was not quite dry yet. Here I'm showing you how I'm tapping and kind of rolling to get this effect. Build, build, build. So this is gonna be a little bit of a valley, so go up on the other side and kind of build the other side of the valley. Don't overthink it. Just have fun playing mountain valley creator, I guess. As I'm pressing into the canvas, I'm starting to imagine some trees, and these little bristly parts are kind of like the tip tops of trees. I'm putting darker spots, blending them in but not too much, and doing lots of tapping. So I am ready for some clouds. Let's get the fan brush with some white and just kind of decide where you want some clouds at. So I'm gonna start tapping them in. I like when they come in from the left and the right side of the painting. Play around with holding the brush in different positions, upside down, right side up, sweeping. I'm gonna add a little bit more pink to make these clouds a little dreamier. And this is kind of helping to blend them in too. That sweep at the top is a total accident, but I love it. Don't worry if you make an accidental blip on your painting. It can always be painted over, worked with, or changed. I'm just continuing to go in with my paint with the white and a little bit of pink, adding more texture, sweeping, tapping, and really just having fun. Moving back towards the forestry, I kind of want some flowery looking moments. So I'm dabbing a little bit of red in there. And then I'm adding a little bit of pink. I have to be honest with you, I didn't really like how this was looking at first, but I do find as I add on top layers and layers, I love it in the end. Going back into some dark green combinations, I'm going on top of the colored bits that I just made. Layering and layering. So around this time, my boyfriend had the idea to add some sunshine. I'm grabbing some yellow with a little bit of pink and white, and I'm not going to draw an exact sun, but I'm going to add some dreamy light rays. I'm very lightly sweeping this in. I'm thinking it's peeking from behind that cloud right there. So looking at the valley, I think it would be nice to add a little road here. This is the time that you can start putting any little details in that you like. If your creation looks like it needs one thing or the other, have fun and add the little things. So this is a little road, and then I'm adding some little trees to make it look like trees along the road, and then adding highlights all throughout the valley. I always thought it would be great to have a little house in the forest, so here's a little forest hilltop house that I'm painting in. I didn't want my house to be too lonely, so I'm gonna add a few more. And after you've done all your details and blending, you should have something that is perfect. Perfect because you made it, and hopefully you had a good time doing so. Thank you guys for following along.